I believe that when you experience something, you experience it based on your own reality, your own personal reality. So in a painting or in an artwork, when you view something or life, a situation, whatever it is, you relate it to your experiences, and what you see is as much as you wish to see or as much as you're capable of seeing.
Good afternoon, Zarah Cassim. Thank you very much for receiving us in your studio. So the setup of the interview is going to be completely different. No tea or no coffee served. It's actually you that served us coffee, so thank you very much for that.
It's a pleasure.
The ambience here is really, really nice, very cozy, surrounded by paintings. So first question, could you please briefly present yourself?
Okay. My name is Zarah Cassim. I am an artist from Cape Town, South Africa, and I kind of specialize in painting at the moment.
All right, so that's a good way for me to ask you the following question, which is, we need to have an explanation about why you got attracted to painting instead of any other art.
I don't think I actually ever got attracted to painting. It just kind of came to me. I didn't ever plan to be a painter. I've always painted, and I actually was always trying to push myself creatively to do other things. So after school, high school, I was looking at studying architecture, fashion design, and in the end I just decided to go for something neutral, which was fine art. And even studying fine art, I ended up majoring in photography and video. And after that, I just started painting because it felt like a break, and was always just felt like a relaxing thing and just something that I always did.
All right. And you still take pictures? You still do photography?
I still do, but I haven't exhibited my photography work since university.
All right. And would you, in your work of expressing something, would you go for an art instead of another if you want to express something in particular?
It depends on what I'm trying to express. So at the moment, my art, my paintings are all about the fact that reality exists in multiple layers. So I try and paint in very thin, transparent layers of oil paint. And I have been painting on canvas, but at the moment I've been looking at painting on thinner, transparent mediums.
All right. It allows me to remind the audience that painting is a way of expression like any other one. Your painting is very convenient, and because it deals with reality itself, and as you mentioned, and how one handles it. So would you say that your painting is a way for you to communicate your reality, or to make one enter your reality?
It definitely is, because I think my language is painting and is art. I'm not good at speaking, I'm not good with words, and it's definitely a way to express myself, or to try and express myself, and reflect on ideas as I'm creating, and also learning about myself while I'm creating, I think.
All right, okay. So a question comes consequently to what you just mentioned, and that's quite convenient that you mentioned that. The question that comes is in relation to one of your exhibitions that happened in Cape Town in 2017, and the title of which is The Guise of Reality. There is a short essay that kind of helps the viewer to understand where you want to take them. And this part, I'm going to read it right now. That's written by Natasha Norman. And she writes, quote, "Cassim's interest in the human relationship to nature is grounded in the perceptual practice of painting itself. Her natural landscapes are abstracted to the point that one perceives only what one wishes to see, thus identifying the perceptual play of real and imagined. So, consequently to that part of this essay, could we say that your art is a way for the viewer to reconnect with his own reality? So you just said that you invite him in your reality, but somehow you also invite him in his own reality.
Exactly, because I believe that when you experience something, you experience it based on your own reality, your own personal reality. So in a painting or in an artwork, when you view something or life, a situation, whatever it is, you relate it to your experiences, and what you see is as much as you wish to see or as much as you're capable of seeing. So that's why I kind of like to work with abstract forms and abstract natural landscapes. So it kind of invites the viewer to see as much as they wish to see. It's not something concrete, but it's open to imagination and your subconscious as well. And it's not specific to a certain person, but open to many.
So it's this business is very much linked to living. So do you sometimes feel an urge to paint? Sometimes something happens to you and say, now I have to paint and I have to put it down on a painting.
Sometimes I do, but usually when that happens, I'm very busy and I don't get to do that.
Right.
So, but I think when I do paint, I don't paint from pictures or from life or anything. I just paint freely from my own imagination. So I try and be like true to myself and follow forms that if I think something is working, I go with it. I follow abstract shapes and forms and just continue with that, and I just use my gut. So
that's a question. The question I'm about to ask you now is a question that we asked to another artist. Would you say that painting is a way for you, is a kind of therapy or something that helps you to go to forge ahead?
I think so, but it's also just a part of my life.
All right.
It's not. It's therapy. It's work. It's just something I do.
It's yourself.
It's just something I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Back to this essay. There is another very interesting point that was mentioned, and I'm going to read it out loud again. So we also find in this essay, quote, the dynamic of the relationship between human and nature is a space where the illusion we perceive as reality is exposed. Yes. So maybe we need a quick explanation from you.
Okay, the space, nature as a space where the illusion we perceive as reality is exposed. Okay. I think that I work with nature, images of nature, because I feel like it takes the human out of their daily life and puts them in this overwhelming, sublime thing, that creation that is much bigger than them. And I think when you see yourself tiny in something that is massive, you just get in touch with things that are real and with truth and with your own truth. And for me personally, I feel like that in nature. So I think that I hope that when someone views my paintings, they kind of have that moment where they feel something, connect with themselves. That's all I really want. Yeah. That's
very refreshing to have a look at your art. Honestly, especially for Europeans, because you are from Cape Town, and Cape Town is a very peculiar city, and you both have city life and nature life, and you switch from one to the other in 5 to 10 minutes. Yeah. And that's very refreshing for people living in cities. So that's an invitation, I think, from you to reconnect with nature, which actually means, if I understand well in your language, it's a synonym with the self.
Exactly. I don't think it's specifically nature and about going into nature. It's more about yourself and what you feel. And my favorite artist is actually Rothko, and because so many people have cried in front of his paintings, and they're just these abstract planes of color, but they make people feel something because they're just so overwhelming, and there's something in them that connects people with themselves. There are no forms or anything to get distracted by. So I think it's more about the viewer experiencing something, reflecting, kind of having a space to reflect, than viewing something beautiful or connecting with nature.
Okay. This feeling of refreshment that I just mentioned is just taking momentum now. Yeah. Because as Europeans, we've been exposed to so many thoughts and streams of thoughts, and we're still in this surrealism, post-surrealism, existentialism. And I feel that in your way of expressing yourself, there's a lot of sincerity, a lot of truthfulness and perception. So what would you say about this concept of sincerity, which is very dear to you, if I understand well?
I think sincerity is just kind of trusting your gut, trusting your instinct, and being who you are, being true to yourself, and not trying to be something or putting labels on things, and not being afraid of making mistakes and doing what is right or doing what is wrong. Just really just actually feeling. I think it's all about feeling more than thinking, which I think is very important.
There is something that we can mention now, is the language of the intellect and the language of the heart. And I think that's a massive shortcut when we look at art. It's normally directed to the heart, and to the feelings. Which allows me to ask you the following question, which is quite practical. We have a lot of viewers, including myself, that have not been exposed to a lot of exhibitions in their life, and somehow having an artist in front of us is an opportunity. Very simple question: if you had someone that never been to an exhibition in his life, and that enters one of yours, and first time in his life that he looks at paintings, what would be your advice? How should he?
I don't think there's anything specific. There's no specific way to look at a painting or to experience an artwork. I think you would look at it if you felt something, and if you don't feel anything, don't look at it. You know, like if you connect with something and it attracts you some way, try and understand why. And if it doesn't,
so we loop back
to
sincerity.
Exactly.
So I had the opportunity to be exposed to some of your earlier works, both photographs and painting. So you just said that you've been concentrating on landscapes and painting lately, but your earlier works also offer the viewer to have some faces and some people being painted. One thing that is a bit intriguing for me, and I know it's a bit rude to ask for first degree interpretation or answer from an artist, but I'm going to cross the line. All of these faces and people are not completely painted. So we have faces that are in the shade or half painted. Would you say that this is a courtesy to them? Because we know that the face is a door to the soul of someone. So is it a protection for your models, or something completely different?
I think it's completely different. I actually think that the figure and the form is not as important as the kind of atmosphere and mood of the painting or of the artwork. So it's not about the figure. And I try to use as little detail as possible not to distract the viewer from actually just kind of feeling the energy of the artwork. Yeah.
All right. there's a lot of, all right, it's very open and it allows the viewer to interpret. All right, I think we covered all of what we wanted to cover. Maybe there are some aspects of your work that you would like to share with us that hasn't been tackled so far. Maybe your late exhibition, your current exhibition in Cape Town?
My current exhibition, so my upcoming exhibition is Cape Town Art Fair at the Convention Centre, and it is large, moody landscapes. I've tried to keep all of my works really large so that the viewer could get immersed in the painting.
What do you mean by large?
Large scale, so larger than 1 meter. 1 meter, 2 meters, and I'm actually working on my next the painting I'm working on next will be 8 meters.
Wow.
An 8 meter by 3.2 meter painting.
Have you ever done that before?
I've never worked that large before,
wow.
But I just want to kind of create a full experience and more of an installation rather than a picture that someone puts on a wall. So that's the direction I'm trying to head into with my latest body of work.
Fantastic. All right. I think we covered all of what we wanted to cover and all of what you wanted to cover. Now comes the traditional question of our internet media, which is the ultimate question, the ultimate meaning. So according to you, what's the meaning of life?
What is the meaning of life? That's a crazy question, but I think the meaning of life is trying to figure out the meaning of life. I don't know, for me, the meaning of my life personally is just trying to push myself personally to my full potential with whatever I can do, and by doing that, being grateful for what I've been given and for my talents, or you know, and trying to understand myself, grow through pushing myself to my full potential with my art. And I don't know if that answers the question of what the meaning of life is, but for me, that's what I'm doing.
It does. Zarah Cassim, thank you very much.
Thank you.